That Man on Fatman is brought to you by Death Wish Coffee. Death Wish Coffee. The strongest coffee in the world. That Man on Fatman is also sponsored by Audible. Check out Audible over at audibletrials.com/thatmanonfatman. That Man on Fatman is now hosted on Podbean, so find us over at thatmanonfatman.podbean.com. And we here over at That Man on Fatman always feel a debt of gratitude to our buddy Chunder Tunes. So go check out his animation for all your podcast animation needs over at chundertunes.com. That Man on Fatman is available on most social media platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, or you can go over to our links. We're on the Podbean site at thatmanonfatman.podbean.com. There's all kinds of links there to all our other resources as well. So check that out.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you.
That Man on Fatman is recorded with a Zoom H6 handy recorder.
Zoom. For creators.
Disclaimer. The show you're about to experience is for entertainment purposes only. The hosts use mature language and conversation just like in most of life. If you're too uptight, this might not be for you. All that said, we really do hope you enjoy the show. But if you don't enjoy it, expect a nice big shipment of my joyous Joker juice on your doorstep in the very near future. Toodles!
Yes, please note that use of all sound effects is done ironically.
Ooh-ah. You are listening to That Man on Fatman with Scott and Gene Holden, and they, trust me, have a great ass.
As the world's biggest Kevin Smith fan, I appreciate the fact that somebody finally made a podcast about that interesting motherfucker. So yes, you absolutely did the right thing.
Okay. What has two thumbs and is a huge fan of Kevin Smith? That Man!
Scott, who does That Man on Fatman podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh-ah.
Well, once upon a time, just a regular man read a book written by the Fat Man. Tough shit written by old Kev Smith.
Ooh-ah. That Man on Fatman.
Kev said go out and start a podcast, and so I did, and I had a real blast. But my obsession was driving my co-host nuts.
Who is he? He's that man. He's talking.
Didn't want to bring the podcast down. Needed Porkchop Murphy to hang around.
Go get him, that man.
So I created a show with one heck of a plan, and I call that show That Man on Fatman.
That Man on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
That Man on Fatman. That Man on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
Go get him, that man.
There are numbers.
It's on.
It's recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode 4-12 of That Man on Fatman. I'm chewing a donut. I'm breaking my own rule. Shouldn't be eating on mic, but I'm hungry. Because we have been recording and we lost all we recorded. And we're starting over on our top 10 show, part 2. And in the house is none other than Gene Holden.
None other than Gene Holden.
Yeah, that's our producer, sidekick, and extraordinaire.
Sidekick.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fucking losing my mind at this point.
Oh, my God.
Leave me alone. I'm just trying to get this thing going so we can get caught up to where we were before we fucking...
Sidekick, piece of shit, whatever.
Again, it's that feeling of, we've driven to New York and then we got halfway there and we're like, shit, we got to go back and get something. We're not going to be I'm not going to be happy again until we're at least where we were when I realized we weren't recording. Okay. All right. Which is easy to do because when you have
many hours ago.
When you have Nick Franco from where our seat's in the house.
Hello.
Because all he does is babble and talk and get me sidetracked. So it's very easy to talk.
It's all my fault.
And check out his show.
I was like, I don't even remember if we started the show anyway.
And check
I had
out
to think back. I'm like, did we just even start the show? Is that
And-
why there's no recorder going?
And check out the podcast where our seats.
Where are my
Where are my
seats?
seats?
Where are
Yes.
my seats? I'm sorry.
We've
Oh,
already
it's okay.
we've already established that.
And Pete is not here either.
And Pete is not
Yes.
here.
So it's only where are my
So
Where are my?
where are
Yes, where are?
Where are? And then that's it.
It's
No
very-
seats.
It's very philosophical. show.
And this is why we were all discombobulated.
Yes, and so to Nick's lovely wife, we say thank you for
Tracy.
because we've just essentially need to hold him back again after class.
It's okay.
We'll try and get him home in time for Game of Thrones,
It's okay.
Is
I'll
that
be home.
something you
I'll
watch
make
together?
dinner.
which is I'm gonna again call back this reference. Now, if you go back to our show, the last one, part 1 of the top 10 SModcast countdown show, you will. It's like if you've ever read Game of Thrones or if you've ever watched the show, particularly the first couple of seasons. Nobody ever gets where they set out
To their
go.
destination.
Yeah, it's narrative obstacles everywhere. So last time we tried to get out to our destination, we never got there. We just kept getting like a half hour in. I was like, you know what? Fuck the fucking top 10. We'll do that at another date. And
To be continued.
yes, so to be continued it. However, Pete can't be here for the continuation.
Correct.
And this all falls in line very well with the SModcast 10th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So in that spirit, it's a good time to actually do the top 10 episodes of SModcast that we didn't do. And I think just for saving things, I'm going to hold aside the Blues Traveler song that I have.
Yeah. Well, when Pete's around.
Yeah, exactly. So next time, remind me, because that's a holdover from last time. It is funny. It's a good bit. It's something you will enjoy, but we'll save that because he's a musical guy and he'll get it. Especially since he played at the Obsessions, or he at least went to,
Right.
saw a show there. So, yeah, it'll spark memories of home. He'll probably go like crazy and be pulsating eyeball. And... All right, so let's get into the top 10 episodes. Now, I hope we can all manufacture the same original amount of laughter and humor, but maybe it'll be even better now.
Wait, does
More
it sound
insight.
good? Ha ha ha.
Yes, you sound great
Good.
over there. Meh. And I know you may have to cut out and do something with our
Yeah, but I
daughter.
don't have to leave till like 5. So
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah, so until 5? If you
I don't have to leave
Did you
until.
have a little drinky winky? Did you?
What was in that donut?
Gene, did you? Gene, you got Tommy. Did you? Are you all right? Is everything okay?
We're losing him. No.
Did you have a little drink before you came to the show today?
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Will you stop?
All that for that.
You're such a mature.
Fuck. That's right, folks. It's not as funny this time around.
Yeah.
But it will be. That was Gene
will be.
after Ralph Garman said that we had great asses. So, a spontaneous answer. So, now moving right along. Let's go down to the top countdown. Again, now, not every episode. I have 13 cuts that I put aside for our top 10 countdown that feature. These are all SModcast episodes. These are the top 10 that represent this fucking show, motherfuckers.
Yes, 10 years of smodcasting.
Come on, don't make me have to heavy lift this again.
Come on, play.
Don't make me do all the heavy lifting. All right,
Now
so
they're in order too. So
well,
this is
the
10.
order that we're doing them is the order in which they came
Chronological.
out. So it
We're
helps
going
us.
chronologically.
Out.
Yes. However, there are shows that are funnier than others.
Not
and,
the order in which we like them.
yeah, and also it's so hard to do that. So this is the best way to do it.
Because they're all
and cop
great.
out.
So top 10.
Yeah. So top 10, and we're going to start with the first. Again, Casey Case. I'm coming in with the top 10. Maybe I'll stick with this time, as I didn't last time. And I'm going to have the Obsession sound man come in and do my sound a little bit. That's right. This will give you a prep of the Blues Traveler. No,
Hello?
I'll back that out.
Echo,
No,
echo.
I turned it off just in time. All right. So, let's start out with the first one. I'm a big fucking Harry Potter fan, as everyone knows here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to find out that Scott Mosier was a Harry Potter fan. Now, this is not the first Harry Potter episode, as we discussed a little bit. It was originally like Harry Penis or something, and it's a little bit earlier. It might be in the 60s. And the other significant thing about that, as I was re-listening to that episode, is it's the one that Kevin comes out and opens the show shitting on Clue.
Right.
Which
for those who listen to Smodcast, if you've listened recently.
So full circle.
Yes.
And that was the only thing I'm thinking. I was like, this is so odd. Is Kevin just trying to make penance? Is he essentially just doing like, you know what? Because he even mentions at one point in the thing, he's like, the greatest shit that he ever got on the show was when he fucking, shat on fucking Clue. So it was so weird and what's the word? Synchronicity was in effect going on.
Mm-hmm.
But
the police were there.
Yeah, but of all this, you may know this from what would it be? It would be there's some Smodimations on this, and it turns up on a lot of people's favorites. But I mean, let's face it, it is number 90, which is Forgeticus. And in Harry Potter, there is a forget spell, which is what? What's that charm? It's the one that what's his name did a lot of. The
one
second book.
Which one? The guy with the dark arts.
But
Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Yeah, he was a con man.
Yeah.
Essentially, what his memory modification charms were.
Right.
What
the hell is his name?
Oh God, I don't know.
But
it's always
Ron's mom liked him.
Yes, yes. He was the guy who wrote all the kitsch books,
yes.
and he was on the talk shows, and ultimately turned out to be a fraud.
Right, he was a con.
Right.
Yeah. But he did memory modification charms, which were very much like Forgeticus.
But don't have that same
I want to
ring.
say it's Alohomora, but that's opening a lock. It'll come to me. They might even reference it, but it won't be in this cut. So here we go. Here's our first clip. We're going to leave our mics on so we can add a little comment and such to these. So here we go.
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
And I just banged my headphones.
Now, I saw it, and I dug it. And I was into it every step of the way. And enjoying like the dopiness of knowing what magic. I know of magic, how beautiful magic can be.
Magic and masturbation.
Knowing that he winds up with Jenny Weasley and shit, so every like little moment we're like, oh, excuse me,
all the awkwardness. You're like, one day he ain't gonna be so awkward, man. He's gonna slip the fucking wand straight up the Weasley.
That's quite
gonna be
the expression.
It's gonna be like. Fuckus anus.
I didn't know that was a spell.
Oh, Harry. But so you see it, those moments like that, it was like
he's gonna really understand what magic is.
Totally. I'm like, dude, none of this shit. You think Bertie Bott's is magic? Wait until you bust a nut in some woman's ass. It's amazing.
Thank
or
you,
her mouth.
Gene.
Or even
Obliviate.
where it should go, her vagina. Anyway.
It's all good.
Hey, Harry, my point is this: wherever it goes, that's where it goes. You know what I'm saying, man? As long as it goes.
Different from the false memory charm.
Harry, this is one thing. This is one activity you don't need a spell for, man. You just fucking need pussy. So I guess you could great pussy if you didn't have it.
Now, if I will do a shout out to the Smodimation man himself, Steve Stark. One of my favorite shows, Steve Stark.
Steve Stark's brilliant. We haven't chatted with him in a while. He's
working the hard. Deal was always that we were going to do something after Smoley Bible.
Right, and that never came out.
From what I hear, it's done.
Or, I mean, it hasn't materialized.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
so.
From what I hear, it's done. So and the plan was that Kevin and Scott were going to tour on that.
Right.
So.
Is that something you want to expand upon? Like, people may not know what the Smoley Bible is?
Smoley Bible was supposed to be, I guess, a collection of the best like Bible references from Smodcast shows prior, and they were going to put it all together into a Smoley Bible movie.
Right.
Animation, sort of Smodimation. Which would have been, will be, and is.
Well, it
going
will.
To be
It's
awesome.
just like how many things does the guy have going at one time?
Yeah. So anyway, but if you watch these Smodimations, this is one of the good. This is one of the better ones. It's very funny. There's so many. It's loaded with all kinds of.
There's so many
jokes.
good ones.
Like, they got
and this is
they got
the birth of Forgeticus
what's
right
the
here.
pumpkin juice they
butter beers.
They were drinking some butter beers and knocked back a few too many butter beers, and one just woke up, and the other was sucking his dick. He was like, "Hey!"
I don't really know if that's everyone's.
and then it was fucking Harry's dick was getting sucked by Ron Weasley, and then Ron was like, "Forgeticus," and Harry forgot. Like, write about shit like that, or just like, you know, when fucking Hermione gives her first awkward blowjob, and but you know, she's so anal about it, she freaks out because it's not perfect, starts crying, cursing herself for being a mudblood, and Harry's like, "It's cool, I'll show you how to do it. Here's pack some gilly weed in your mouth, and you won't ever have to breathe. It'll come up for air. It's all good." I learned this little trick with Ron. She's like, "What?" Forget school. I learned that from Ron too. Motherfucker, Forgeticus.
He's like, "That's not a spell." You just can't just add.
Harry, you're the worst lover ever. Yeah, Forgeticus.
You can't just add Iticus to the end of every word.
Oh my God, you're fucking Cho Chen in our bed. Forgeticus. Big time Forgeticus.
Multiple Forgeticus.
Oh shit, Forgeticus is the best spell I ever learned. God damn it. God bless Snape.
So there we go. That kicks off the start. And, you know, it's still very funny. We just listened to it 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago.
Funny.
And it's still funny. And before I was yakking. So hopefully we'll get the spirit. I mean, yakking. Again, driving back. You got to get to the point where you were before you start feeling like, hey, we're making progress.
Right.
Jeez.
And this is all fun.
Yes. And there's no repeated lines in anything I'm saying.
No.
You think I was scripted? All right, so moving on to number 2, show number 2 on the Casey Kasem Countdown. Well, this show, it kind of rhymes with a word called abortion. That's right. And again, I will argue that this may be, there's 2 episodes that pound for pound are loaded with material. And this is one of them. I pulled 2 cuts from this because I had no choice. It's just that funny. And I couldn't decide. But like even these 2, like totally,
they call back to each other. So
yeah, they call back to each other. They're loaded with nostalgia, and as a '70s kid, the first part hooks you in, and then later on in the show, they're just talking about again holiday shows, Smodcast holiday shows. They kind of pull in their stakes. They get really centered, and they get funny. So here we go. This is part 1. This is the first cut. This isn't even the funniest one. This is just something I really like.
But somebody told me that his voice was the voice that we heard over ABC, like the ABC Sunday night movie.
Huh.
I don't know if that's true or not, but if that was the case,
I'm introducing the idea.
Yeah, I would like to spread this rumor.
Mosher always always a scientist.
Think I heard something like that.
As I was cited by Kevin in the last episode.
Sunday night movie. Well, it was slow too. It was like like they had the opening credit sequence. ABC Sunday night movie was like 28 minutes long.
The ABC.
No, it was like the ABC. Ba, 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 Sunday. Ba, 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 night. I mean, they really like. Ba, 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 we'll be right back. And then they were commercials, and they came back. Movie. It was. I think he was the voice, but I remember like fucking. Sometimes that voice, when he had to do scary movies, would change it. Like if it was like, you know, the ABC Sunday night movie for the love of Benji, like it would be like that.
Yeah.
But if it was like, and now. The ABC Sunday
the abortion.
Night movie. Yeah, it was. It would go real fucking low. It's like the abortion.
So funny.
The wire hanger abortion.
Fucking Scott is just genius, man.
Mom, should we be watching this?
With no commercial interruption.
I remember this too. Yeah, that's another serious tip. Oh, Mom. Oh, God.
Sponsored by Trojans Condoms. You don't want this.
Yeah. Come on.
Get it out of me. How? It's the 70s.
Ow.
Take this. That's a wire hanger. Well, burn it with a lighter. Sterilize it first. This shouldn't happen to anybody. I'm dying. Credits.
Thank you for watching
the ABC Sunday night movie.
You've just watched the abortion.
Kids don't have abortions. What's abortion, Mom? There was one I remember. He went serious. Like he would go serious on Jaws, like the ABC Sunday Night Movie presents Jaws. But then he would be lighthearted
the conclusion
for like Benji and shit, or like it's a mad world or something.
Yeah,
Benji.
I remember he did one there was a movie that had, what's his name? Sean, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Abortion.
Thank God Mosher couldn't let it go.
Anything else. Just flat out. Abortion.
Like a dog with a bone.
Starring Lyle Wagner.
This reminds me of Avalanche from fucking MST3K.
Oh my God.
Knots Landing's Michelle Lee.
That could be the same thing.
Your mom's like, oh, we can watch this. I like Michelle Lee. She's on my stories. Did you hear the title? No. What is it?
Rhymes with the sportion.
Abortion. From that brilliance, they named the episode Abortion. So, again, holidays. So they're going out, and then it's just like, you go from that, and I just love how once they get going, the egos are dropped. They don't care. They're laughing. They just, like, each one feels completely free to build on what the other one just built and just make it more funny, and then they just fucking crack themselves up.
But this is why they're such a great pair.
And
again, we're not just even talking about Smodcast. This is why. Clerks. This is why, over the years.
Yeah, and this is why I think they bonded and were able to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you can really hear, and if you look at all the different hosts that Kevin works with, each one has a different thing, but Scott pulls in a certain dynamic, and there's just so much of, like, if you listen to Edumacation, Kevin does that same, like, he'll go writing and take characters and create life in front of you, and Andy's reaction is more mystified and, like, encouraging, and maybe he'll drop things, but more gets out of the way when it starts to happen. Fucking Mosher, no, he just jumps right in. You know, he's right there, and then they're writing together, and so here is the most amazing example.
Holiday Affair, Holiday Inn.
Later in the episode,
movies, man.
This is the Irving Berlin. That's where, like, Bing Crosby.
I'm dreaming of a wet pussy.
and again, you may have heard some of this in some of the Smodimations, but we're adding all the bits you probably didn't hear, which make this fucking genius.
Like, Big, can you change that? Why?
No, Big was way more down.
Yeah, why, baby? Why I gotta change
Why I
it?
gotta change it with a pussy?
We all like pussy here, don't we, baby?
Are they still
Bob likes pussy.
They still call back Bob.
I sure do, Big. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, pussy, but pussy don't love me. Ah.
Shut up, Bob.
Yeah, you.
Bob?
Bob, you're a real killjoy.
You're a real fuck, you know that, Bob?
Instantly, they get the idea that Big is too cool for
Want to
Bob.
take a minute and say fuck you, Bob?
On Christmas, boo, 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 boo. Christmas with Bob. Fuck him. Should we keep rolling?
Keep going.
We're live. What else going on in the news? I'll tell you, man, that son of a bitch Truman can suck my dick. Bing, stop it. We're live. I don't give a shit.
Bing Crosby's done.
Who's going to suck my dick at Christmas? Right here. Bing-a-ling.
There's the scene right
Why
there.
don't you take a dig-a-ling on my bing-a-ling?
Fucking Mosher finds it, doesn't let it go, and it's brilliant. They almost forgot it. They almost got the other one. But then Mosher calls it back.
Every time he gets near a camera, three guys try to grab him. He keeps moving back to the center stage.
Who's gonna suck my dick at Christmas? Is it gonna be Maggie May?
And fucking Kevin, here he comes.
Who's gonna suck my dick at Christmas? On Christmas Day.
Slam dunk. Brilliant. And then they go fucking off the hook. Tying it all together.
The Bing Crosby backup singers, ladies and gentlemen, they're all like, no. Come on now, get out here and help old Uncle Bing.
Yeah, let's finish this song.
Get out here. I said, get the fuck out here. Bitch. Get out here. Give me my gun.
Where'd that come from? Violent.
Somewhere buried deep at
Kevin,
the Academy
Kevin was fucking dying. His
Arts
liver's
and
coming out.
Sciences of Television.
That's how you know it's good.
The ABC Christmas special with Bing Crosby. We'll be back in a moment. Like, don't you change that tone. I want the happy tone guy.
This isn't a movie about abortion.
But while we're talking about it, I wrote a little song about abortion.
Yeah, a Christmas.
So here we go. It's like a new low, and it's so great.
Hook that thing out with a candy cane. Get it out.
So fucking funny.
A candy cane's just as cruel, but is a little sweeter.
Oh, that's so fucking brilliant.
Don't like Bing. You went past offensive straight into supernova. The switchboards have lit up. How many people have called?
Oh my God. See that? Still, I heard 5 minutes ago. Still funny. Still funny. And that is such the visual on that. I don't even, it's demented that he would even think, oh, I got it. I'll hook that thing out with a candy cane.
Still hurts, but a little sweeter.
A little sweeter. Oh my God. That's a brilliant line. So fucking off the hook. That's like Guardians of the Galaxy, you know? Completely, where did that come from? So, there you go. So that is our second episode. Moving right along. The next episode, pound for pound, may be the funniest episode of all Kevin Smith episodes. As I sit here, I can still say that I omitted the I'm out of love. What are they called? The air supply, scare supply bit, which opens this whole
shower.
thing. Mosier's in the shower. Here's that song, which I don't have queued up because I was prepared to play it. And next, they're into funniness. That classic Smodamations on that. But still, I don't know why I got loud there.
Chasing Amy
We
came
have this.
from that very same
A song
mentality
I
in terms of like
strangely sing to myself.
who'd you fuck before me? Like that kind of shit used to
It's the weird
matter
places
to me
Kevin
in a big
goes.
bad way. It's so weird because now I could care less.
Yeah.
Now I'd be like, now if I was like still on the scene and shit, I mean, I'd definitely fucking give it the old college try. But if they were like, there are better lovers than you, I'd be like, I imagine, and thinner. But thank you for letting me come with you. Goodbye.
What are you doing,
I'm
Dave?
done.
A very earnest, sincere thanks as I walked away. They'd have to reconsider me at that point. They'd have to be like, you know, he may not have been the best lover, but he was certainly the most courteous.
Yeah.
As he left.
He was polite.
Yeah. Kept it all to himself, too.
What?
Kept what to himself? It's cum. It became.
He took it
What?
with him.
Yeah.
Put
his
his
little
hand in
bag.
a jar. I don't know. He came in a jar.
At first it was weird, but I'll be honest with you. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't have to sleep in a fucking wet spot and fucking wasn't running down my
Yeah.
leg. And
You okay
I mean, it
with
was
this,
a
Gene?
full
Cum
jar.
jar, Kev?
I'm going to give that
Would you
guy
sleep
a
with
call.
cum jar,
You know
Kev?
that thing about it. Oh, cum jar?
Sure, why not?
Come jar,
It's
Kev.
tidy.
It's come jar,
Right?
Kev.
Cum jar
No
Kev.
mess.
She's like, I'm going to call old cum
It's like
jar.
an action figure.
On your dress.
It's come jar, Kev.
He's your booty pal when
I'm
nobody's
dancing.
around, and you don't have to tell people you fuck him. Cum jar Kev.
When you don't want to mess on your dress.
You're right,
Come jar,
Gene.
Kev.
That's
Keep
right.
it as cum.
Cum jar Kev is the action figure for every girl that doesn't want to know that you pay booty calls to a chubby
That
boy.
shit stings.
What's he doing with
He'll
that
take
shit?
his cum
though?
away and no evidence will be left. No one will ever know the disgusting thing that you did. Cum jar Kev. a girl's best friend.
Cut to you fucking have to fucking open a closet. It's like fucking there's like a giant underground room.
It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, it's like 5,000 jars with names written on them.
In baby food jars, though. That's what they gotta be.
Goes from a jingle to like, come shot Kev.
Gets dark.
Like this commercial. Open one of the jars. Somebody opens a jar, gets their face melted off.
All right, here comes the funniest 7 minutes in SModcast history, I think. Are you ready?
We're
to be
ready.
wowed?
This is number.
Mr. Paulo was right.
Mr. Paulo?
Me and Ed went over to Terry's for her birthday.
Mrs. Paulo, Terry Paulo, was a girl who lived in town. She was a grade or two below us. And apparently me and Ed Hapstack went over to Terry Paulo's house and had a conversation with her mom. Let's see what her mom said.
Ed and I did, and I really didn't even want to.
Ever fucking like, I'm not very...
I don't even know if I said the episode yet. This is
no,
for
not
episode 222.
Okay.
Dobbling. And it's actually the second episode in the Emo Kev saga, but because it starts, Emo Kev actually started on an episode where he was playing Clerks, playing old voicemails that he found from Clerks, including the famous Bob Hawke call.
Mm-hmm.
This is towards the end of that episode, so there is still such great shit before we even get here. This is just my particular favorite thing to come out of all that. I always thought this was brilliant, what they do with it.
And as you were saying earlier, Ed, that he's talking about is, the guy wanting Gatorade in Clerks.
Yeah, if you remember Clerks, so he has hair down to his ass at this time because this would have been filmed around that time. So this is the distinguished gentleman that they're talking about here. And as I will say, he rags on himself about his language here, about making himself sound, more important, like the guy who's using big words in court or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if without that, you don't get to the Clerks guy.
Yeah.
Because the Clerks
to
guy...
Arkev.
Yeah, the Clerks guy, they were guys who were using big words, who were being snarky rather than just insulting. They were trying to sound smarter. And there was also a bit of, what would you call it, like the 30s patois of that fast dialogue style.
Mm-hmm.
I
like
think Kevin was
Dragnet
going... Yeah, Dragnet almost went back to it. But yeah, that fast delivery style. You know who else did it? If you want, look at the Hutsucker proxy.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They use that timing and tempo from old movies. Like
that cadence.
Mr. Paulo was right.
Mr. Paulo?
Me and Ed went over to Terry's for her birthday.
Mrs. Paulo, Terry Paulo, was a girl who lived in town. She was a grade or two below us.
Not afraid to expose himself to all
and
this
apparently
stuff.
me and Ed Hapstack went over to Terry Paulo's house and had a conversation with her mom. Let's see what her mom said.
Ed and I did, and I really didn't even want to.
Ever fucking like, I'm not very interested in the social scene, man. I'd much rather be in my bat cave solving crimes. Highlands needs me.
But since Ed was driving, I obliged. And while we didn't...
I obliged. Did Ed a favor by hanging out with him. Ed, let me tell you, Ed did me the fucking favor. I was obviously, listen to me, fucking nerd with nothing to say, man. Ride around on a bike talking about fucking, haven't given him all yet. Ed at least had some edge to him and shit. Yeah. Like, let's do fun things and shit.
Schmoozed with any of the younger guests because they were all of a high school crowd.
Of a high school crowd. Oh, that sickens me the way he talks. I know, this is not awesome.
We did, however, talk at great lengths to Mr. and Mrs. Paulo. An interesting couple. Very interesting.
I'm 19.
I am still going to defend Emo Kev in this one part up
Watson, I interrogated the Paulos and discovered that it was all very elementary.
I obliged, Edward, and went to the parlors.
I cautioned them against opening the door.
Well, that's a callback to earlier in the episode.
At least.
The quirky dude. I like these Paulos, apparently.
Mr. Paul said something that was pretty much on the money. I disagree with it at first, but he was right. He said, we, meaning Ed and I, and not just Ed and I in particular, but our whole young gender. Not even gender. Our whole young generation, sorry. And not just our generation, but any generation that's at the point that we are now.
Now, there's where he went too far in trying to explain something that he really meant something simple. Yeah. He was saying that people in their 20s don't know how to fuck. Mm-hmm. Regardless of when, time, it doesn't matter. Because, as compared to people in their 40s who are older, more experienced. But in Kevin's trying to get this out, he's saying gender and generation. Again, kind of dress it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. He steps on himself. And now, I understand that's what he means. But then when he says that last statement, that throws him. And then Kevin and Mosier just don't let up on this.
No.
And here we go.
Which would be our generation.
Poor emo Kev. One slip of the tongue.
Emo Kev, not to be confused with Bright Kev. Stop clapping.
Mosher's loving it.
This is delicious.
I think we actually have surpassed where we were before. Or we're close enough. The rest of this will all be new now.
25 below, I guess. Anyway, he said, we don't know how to have sex for fun yet.
Oh, this is Mr. Paulo. Mr. Paulo with quirky but true words.
Oh, Mr. Paulo. I'm intrigued.
This is the creepiest 19-year-old we've ever had come over the house.
Oh, you've had many.
Why are you talking to parents, you dick? Why don't you go try to fuck one of my gorgeous kids? Tell me your thoughts on marriage and sex, Mr. Paulo.
Now, in fairness, I remember being around that age, and you are sort of drifting between two worlds. You're 20, you're not quite an adult, but you're not really a kid anymore. So you're trying to, blend in. And if you find some cool parents who aren't gonna run you out the door,
right?
You could have a little exchange like this. I think we've had exchanges like this
because they were dating.
I will.
Don't mind if I record them.
Here it comes. This is my favorite.
He's like, Terry, don't
this
let
is my
that
political
fat kid
nature
with the tape
why I love
recorder
this.
come over anymore. He thinks he's Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks. Diane, in my hand, I hold a box of small chocolate
Everything old
bunnies.
is new again, or is current.
No, I was insulted by that. In a mild fashion.
I probably threw down. I'm like, Laura says
Who dials it back? Oh, my best move.
Fuck you, Mr. Paulo.
Fuck you, Mr. Paulo, the best.
I haven't even pulled out my best moves.
Yeah, I got hidden shit.
Because who is Joe Paulo to know what kind of sex I have?
This is just so funny.
A bumper sticker.
We have to produce that bumper
Joe
sticker still.
To say what kind of sex I have. People are like, Joe Paulo, politician? I'm like, no, he's this motherfucker who back in 1989 cast aspersions
on me.
On how I
Laura's best lover.
How me and my generation or any generation.
I love how he used
that's
that.
of the that
I love that callback. And then wait.
I love how you said 25 and under. Where it's like, I don't think that a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I count everybody. I'm like, even infants don't know how to fuck, according to Joe Paulo. Do you hear this? Joe Paulo tells you your baby can't fuck.
Joe Paulo says your baby doesn't know how to fuck or enjoy it.
There's attack hands on television.
As soon as I go attack
Joe
hands.
Paulo.
We're in a new world here. It's so brilliant.
Joe Paulo says your baby can't fuck.
Joe Paulo says your baby
Doesn't
know yet how to enjoy fucking.
In a 2011 poll, 40% said that Joe Paulo can't tell them what their baby can do.
Do you want Joe Paulo?
It's time for a change. It's time for Paulo to go.
I know.
All right, let me try again. Hold on, take two.
Direction now.
Joe Paulo's feeding you stuff you can't swallow.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
Mosier,
if you could
man.
push it together a little
Ever
bit more.
going for the fucking slam
It's more
dunk.
haunting. It's like the Kill List. You ever see the Kill List? Have you seen?
And then the bit ends. And that, like, they never come back to Joe Paulo or the baby. But man, for me,
Oh my God.
that was so funny. Maybe it's because of my political nature. The fact that they hit on attack ads in this, and I'm like, oh my, it was. I remember where I was when I heard that episode for the first time because we just moved back not too long. I've been driving a limo. I was waiting on a client that little did we know had canceled, but no one had called the service. And for at least a good hour, I sat there in this fucking driveway listening to this and
coming out.
and I was cracking up. After a while, it didn't matter. Finally got a call, and I was like, oh, okay, they canceled. So yeah, I just remember that day, and I remember this episode, and it was very funny, very funny. Great time. Pulling the mic in there, Gene?
And that's the third on our...
Yes,
list.
we're only at 3. Well, I think that's the longest cut that I picked.
Right.
So, all right, so next should come as no surprise to anybody. Also, a holiday episode. Also, where this show sort of has its origin in some respects, at least its name. And this got stuck in my brain, I think. And so when I went to name the show, it doesn't surprise me that this was like ThatMan came right off the top of my head because when I was like, I have the idea. I know. I'll start a second show. It'll be just about Kevin. I'll call it ThatMan on Fatman. Boom. It just dropped.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was like in your like.
Well, it came from
subconscious,
this, and it came from the fact that Kevin had not too long ago started a show called
Fatman on Batman.
Fatman on Batman, which was him geeking out about his love of Batman. So me geeking out about my love of Kevin only made sense to. So.
And it's interesting that how that show has expanded. It's not just geeking out over Batman now. It's comics. It's everything.
Yeah,
and how Batman has actually expanded as well.
Yeah. It's very much changed. Yeah. Well, Kevin explained it recently. When he talked about seeing the strings. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's his new metaphor. He gets stuck on metaphors like following the puck. I was going where the puck was going to go.
Yep.
Well, now he's talking about seeing the strings, and it's sort of the moment in when you're doing something or when you're looking at something, you go, "Fuck, I know I can do that." I see the strings, and kind of even in Kevin. It's funny because at that moment, while watching Kevin do his performance that night, I was seeing Kevin's strings. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen Kevin enough times. I see the strings. So, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that in any way negative.
No.
I'm saying it as like, I get, he's doing a performance, and that's, and it's very subtle, but it's definitely a performance. And I know where the strings are, and I love that even that there's so much meta going on there, and at the same time, that's what he's encouraging you to do. He wants you to see the strings so that you can take it to the next level.
Right.
And in that respect, yes, this show now sees the strings, and I think that's a good thing. Kevin's show, He's like, I could keep trying to do this interview show, or I could do something that I fucking would want to show up for.
Mm-hmm.
I could change the show fundamentally. I could bring in my friend and just become a geek show. And as a listener, and as a podcaster, you know what I've learned? I have no place to say anything about someone's show. Let Kevin do what he wants, and he'll put out a better product for all of us. He'll be happy.
Let them play. Let them play.
Exactly. So if ThatMan on Fatman is now just a metaphor for
going back to Bad News Bears
for fan love, then that's great. Yeah, exactly. What show did he do that on?
Oh, crap!
I think that had to be Smodcast.
Yeah. No, it was on Smodcast, but I'm trying to remember what episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's about. And now he uses Smodcast as his
but
fan
I think
love.
I think that one was just him by himself. I don't think that was with Scott Mosier either.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Mosier is now off chasing a lot of his own dreams and stuff and doing his own thing. So,
in France.
And you can even see Kevin's evolution as a person because Kevin is very loyal.
He is very loyal.
And so, if you, in the same way, if you told Mosier that, someday you're going to do live shows of this, he would have told you, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you had told Kevin that he would do the show without Mosier and maybe even do it by himself, talk about comics that he likes and shit, he would tell us he was crazy. But he's done all those things. So, he's faced various fears and been an inspiration while doing it. So what number are we at? Okay, we've done all that to say we're going to put at 237, which is Guy LaPointe hunts the maple syrup gang. And I hope I got the right cut here.
2013 is moments away, Scott. Like 48 hours away.
It is.
Anything you're going to do different this year?
Did I pull the right cut? I hope
2013 is
right
moments away, Scott. Like 48 hours away.
We played 2 cuts per show, and we're only on the 4th cut.
Special.
Maple syrup.
Now
there
we
we
know
go.
the secret. There's this whole other world behind the world. There is another world where syrup is as treasured as pussy. Like, what?
Say hello to my little friend, eh? You'll never take us alive.
He's got piles of maple syrup on his desk, so it's just running all over.
You'll never take me alive, eh?
Look at my pile of maple syrup. They're like, where? I'm like, well, it was there. You can't buy syrup unless it's in something.
These are the things you know. You learn these things. You cannot buy syrup.
But look at the puddle on the floor. Obviously, I'm syrup rich.
You can take a bath.
Yeah, I've got a tub full of syrup, and it is maple. Maple, you come over and get in the tub with me, no?
You'll never take me alive.
Like, he's monologuing on the deck. Shoot him already. Like, I can't, Sarge. He's pretty interesting.
So meta,
when's this gonna happen again?
He makes a good point about, you can't pile syrup
You
on
can't
a
pile
desk.
syrup.
You can't shoot a man for being...
You can't shoot a man for being honest.
I'm like, I've heard these so much. I love them. This is one of those ones I love.
He's got a point. Someone call the PM.
Can't put the, hey, that really puts the BM in the
Why
PM.
not? Because you can't.
Why not?
Because you can't shoot a man for being honest, sir. Not in Canada. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
All right. Let him go.
We'll put him.
We'll get him next time.
Yeah.
He's our Joker. That's what it is, dude. Canada's like Gotham City. Like, even the crimes are outlandish and colorful. Like, I stole 6 million pounds of syrup. I'm the pancake master.
What are we going to do about the pancake master?
We need a costumed vigilante is what we need. Justice can't be served unless it's being fought outside the system.
I know this cut.
Here's what we're going to do, hey. Oh, shit. It's ThatMan. Who is he? He's ThatMan. He's talking. What should we do?
Oh, there he goes by in the ThatMobile.
The what? ThatMobile. His car. Go get him, ThatMan. What are you saying? I will, Why do you put your faith in a cartoon character when ThatMan is standing right there? The Philosophical Adventures of ThatMan. CBC Fall 2013.
The complete origin of ThatMan
Nice.
From and that's another one of those episodes. Guy LaPointe is born out of that episode.
Right.
Which came right out of the article. I mean, that's like the real name of the guy they cite as being part of, this investigation team.
Yeah, well, a lot of his, the whole Tusk thing, the yoga hoser out of that that news.
This is just before that. This it predates it just a little bit.
Right.
So he became part of the mythology only a little bit earlier.
Right.
And the next show after this is really good too. I think it's the one where they start talking about Boxing Day and it gets really religious. So again, like that would be an honorable mention and a holiday thing because they had reeled in the stakes and they were
right.
So yeah, this obviously there's the origin of the ThatMan that eventually became part of our mythology, and the reason why when I asked Kevin permission, essentially, first I wanted him to re-record, but then it was just easier for him to say, just use the cut.
Right.
And part of the reason he did, he said, I love that because Scott and I are fucking, he remembers it as like we were fucking laughing our asses off. That's like what he remembered about it. So he's like, please use it. Because they had just cracked themselves up. He's like, yeah, go. Feel free.
And
to which I have to say, thank you, Kevin. We
oh yeah,
we love that.
And I remember you used to use the longer clip now, but now you've
restructured
it with the.
You got it. Well, now it'll be completely different if you haven't paid attention to the new intro. So I hope you didn't miss it. New song there up front, and a new lead-in from Mr. Garman,
right?
Or we could say Mr. Al Pacino, from because he's.
Do you know what? It's not that half bad Al Pacino there.
I really had been saving that all day for Ralph.
Nice.
So when he did it, when I found it was such a setup. When I said, "Hey, can you give us a little Al Pacino?" I was waiting with that cue, baby. All right.
My name is Guy LaPointe.
Yes. All right. So we should be able to get through these at a more moderate clip. And happy to say we're past the point like where we were before. Yes. So all this is fresh, new, and should feel good. And that's why I wasn't all that. I'm like, all right, we can do this. We can do this. I don't think I've been doing this long enough to know the energy's good enough that it will carry.
Keep going.
Yeah. We'll hit re-record. It might even be better. We might even be tighter. So, but all this is now in the vibe, in the zone. So, next show after that, this was a classic for me. It was one of those legends that I had heard about and knew that existed. Mm-hmm. I think because, I think Brian Johnson referenced it. So they spoke to it. And it's probably it might be in the Highlands of Peephole History.
Oh, okay. Right.
And
the other pod.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, getting dry. I want to stay wet for all you folks. You want to stay hydrated. So I don't drive you nuts with my snappiness. And in it, like, Brian says that he remembered that Kevin was, the moment he thought that Kevin was a fucking, like, in a sense, a genius, was when he read this fucking article after the fact, I think, when he had gotten in a sort of a battle back and forth with a local columnist who wrote wrote this column called The Weekly Observer, I think, but it was spelled WEAK, and so it's like one of the things that annoyed him about it. So it was legendary, and eventually, Kevin finally got Ming went down to the library, got him the transcript because he had lost it, and so he exposed essentially that Kevin, the reason why he believes he's cursed by trolls is because he was an analog troll. Or actually, he was a digital troll in an analog world. He was before his time. So here's a little bit of his feud with Joan Turner in the episode is 253, It Trolls for Thee. And I'm so off on my cuts. I'm hoping.
Writer questions Joan's abilities.
There we go.
These are my words.
Okay, now.
This is Kev. 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old Kev. Edge of 17. White-winged dove Kev. Welsh witch Kev.
White-winged dove.
I thought I cut more of this.
Dearest Joan Turner, allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, boy.
I am a courier reader. Write that in there. Don't you hate this prick? Oh, my God.
Mosher makes one
Being
of the best
a paper with
observations
news
ever.
of local interest, it isn't too shabby. That is, it wouldn't be bad if one column was to be dropped. New paragraph. Yours. Dude, I'm 16. I'm not even 17. Listen to this sentence. Being a paper with news of local interest, it isn't too shabby.
Let me tell you what you are.
You guys aren't bad.
You're okay.
You're like the Kmart of journalism. You're not Macy's. You're Kmart.
I know you've been waiting to hear what
Judged a lot. I'm 16, man. Yours, I say in a new paragraph. I must
like no one saw it coming.
I know, like, oh, wait till this dagger.
She's not gonna think that I'm gonna talk about her.
She probably thinks I'm talking about Seeing Around by Lynn Azalina.
Who gives a fuck what people are doing?
I'm gonna rope-a-dope Joan Turner. I must relate to you the amount of disgust with which I view your weekly observations. Dude. I don't think I've ever been disgusted by anything shy of like pederast, rape, like serious things. And Joan Turner.
Weekly observation.
Bad columnist. I'm like, oh God, that's the height of outrage. Quite frankly, I must relate to you the amount of disgust with which I view your weekly observations. Quite frankly, they stink. Putridly. Putridly. What a little dick. I myself am a writer of humorous fiction.
Oh, my God.
I know. Oh, God, dude. It hurts even.
The most unfunny thing to say.
I've stepped on poor Mosher, so I gotta wind that back. He's like, that's the unfunniest thing in the world to
who
say.
Does very humorous stand-up.
You'll have
right,
to
no
take
more sound
my
effects, I
word
promise.
for it.
Yes.
For I will not do it here.
I've been affirmed by the humorous fiction people.
Do you have a gold seal?
Been recognized for my humorous fiction.
I myself am a writer of humorous fiction.
Oh
In
my
fact,
God.
as judged by my peers and strangers, I'm a comic genius. Dude, I don't even think that now, but at age 16, because Kim Lochran and my parents were like, that's kind of funny.
Kind of funny. You're like, ha ha.
Well, I will crush you with my newfound funniness powers. Like, why?
Well, I'm a comic genius. Is that what you're saying?
We were trying to be encouraging. It wasn't even that funny. What? A comic genius, dude.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Hey, you know, that's some serious shit.
Sorry, too loud.
Yeah.
So weird. My
I
sound
can
effects
never-
are louder than my Kevin.
I can never redo that way ever again.
No, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Kevin calling himself. I love the comic genius, and that was the other thing. I remember him saying that. Like I remember Brian reading that and going, I remember you called yourself a comic genius. It was so funny and brilliant. So yeah, that was a classic. So when Kevin actually did that episode to me, it always stood out as an amazing thing because
It's a great one.
again, to me, some of his best episodes are when he exposes,
Himself.
real. He doesn't try and write off. Like in some of that emo Kev stuff, we find out about like weird stuff he did with an ex-girlfriend, like went in a room and rearranged stuff. It was like a serial killer in many ways. But, I mean, he didn't do anything like that, but like he compares himself in mindset to a serial killer. So that I believe that was not emo Kev, that was evil Kev. So
Right.
that was like a 4 or 5 episode run, the emo Kev thing too, by the way. So check out all those episodes out on the webs. You can actually find a lot of YouTube compilations of all of them strung together. Oh boy. Okay. Now the next episode, had to be on the list.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey that many of us got to go on with Kevin, from the seeds of somebody's wacky idea, which would be, essentially a hoaxer or trickster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know where this is going.
In England, who wrote an article in Gumtree, which was a Craigslist, but more British. And it was a hoax, but it was so thought-provoking that at the time, they didn't know it was a hoax. No one knew it was a hoax yet. Mm-hmm. And just no hoax, it doesn't matter. The
idea.
The journey that first Scott and Kevin take here, just in this episode, and then Kevin making the leap from this episode to a script, largely based just around that episode. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I remember when I saw the movie, I was almost amazed at how much it really was the episode.
Right.
Wow, this is the episode. Wow, they really even kept that wacky, weird bit at the end, huh?
Yeah. But this is the spark.
Yeah, this was where it all came from. And now we're so lucky to have on the show around that time the guy who wrote the Gumtree ad.
Chris
so
Parkinson.
So if you want to find out more about that, feel free.
That's season 1, episode 32.
Yes, season 1, 32.
Yep.
Chris Parkinson. Check that episode out.
Yeah.
Also, I think Jenny and Noelle are on there too.
Johnny and Miss Jenny, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's their first show or if...
I don't know that part.
It might be their actually first appearance as well.
They're always fun.
And that's back when we were packing so much shit into an episode. It was like 2.5 hours long.
I miss Jenny and Noelle. Anyway.
So check out that show when you can. And I remember being a little bit guilty about that show because we sort of outscooped Kevin so early with that guy, having him on the show.
I felt bad for
that. I was a bit like, but what we were going to do, we got the interview, so
awesome.
You go.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. This is a bit of from 237. No, I'm sorry. 253. No, 259. The Walrus and the Carpenter, which eventually became the film Tusk.
He's narrating, isn't he?
No, I do that character. I love this character.
His own story, isn't he?
I love that character so much.
Hello. I am looking for a lodger in my house. I have had a long and interesting life and have now chosen Brighton as a location for my retirement. Among the many things I have done in my life is to spend 3 years alone on St. Lawrence Island.
Canada?
These were perhaps the most intense and fascinating years of my life, and I was kept in companionship with a walrus whom I named Gregory.
Gregory!
It's getting good, right? You're like, oh, I wonder where this is going.
Oh, it's cool. Gregory's a nice name. My uncle's name was Gregory.
Never have I had such a fulfilling friendship with anyone, human or otherwise. And upon leaving the island, I was heartbroken for months. I now find myself in a large house overlooking Queen's Park and am keen to get a lodger. This is a position I am prepared to offer for free, no rent payable, on the fulfillment of some conditions. I have, over the last few months, been constructing a realistic walrus costume.
Nothing weird there.
Which should fit most people of average proportions and allow for full and easy movement in character. To take on position as my lodger, you must be prepared to wear the walrus suit for approximately 2 hours each day. Each day, Scott. Every day.
You don't get a day off?
You are singing for your supper for 2 hours wearing this fucking suit. Who knows? Well, he'll tell us what he wants. Here we go. You must be prepared to wear the walrus suit for approximately 2 hours each day. In practice, this is not 2 hours every day. I merely stated here so you're able to have a clear idea of the workload. Whilst in the walrus costume, you must be a walrus. There must be no speaking in a human voice, and any communication must entail utterances in the voice of a walrus. I believe there are recordings available on the web.
I love this. Everyone dials in on this.
I
They're
have
like,
heard of this thing.
He's putting you. He's like, you do that work.
yeah, exactly. Come on.
I'm
the division of labor.
I've been fucking sewing
In the
for months.
division of labor, the costume is very difficult.
You gotta do something.
Go listen to something online.
I don't even know what a walrus sounds like.
To me, the voice
Sounds like a
is the
coffee
most
machine.
natural thing I have ever heard. Other duties will involve
Do you have to make
catching
duties?
and eating the fish and crabs that I will occasionally throw to you whilst you
See,
are
I'm
being
out
the
there.
walrus.
Right there, I'm out because I hate all
With
that.
the exception of this, you will be free to do whatever you choose, and we'll have a spacious
I love
double
this
room,
hair.
complete run of the house, with the exception of my bedroom and my workshop. You don't want to go near that workshop. And use of all facilities within. I am a considerate person to share a house with, and other than playing the accordion, my tastes
I love this.
are
I love
easy
this. I
to
love this.
accommodate.
Like, that's the thing that he's like,
So brilliant.
to blow your hair back.
You're going to have to get over this hump, man. But I'm one of those fucking accordion players. You know what I'm saying?
I know this is weird.
Here we go.
Let's take bets or just votes. Does it end well?
Now, I tried to edit as little as possible, but I had to edit there because I just love that question. Does it end well? Because to me, that's the beginning of Tusk right there.
Correct.
So I took a little liberty in that edit. But I love that Scott Mosier fucking observation of like, hey, I don't want to blow your hair back. I want these
The accordion player.
And the the best joke is like it lines up to, so should I play do you play the accordion to the walrus? He's like, no, walruses hate accordion. You know, it's so like right spot on. It's such a brilliant fucking delivery. So there you go. Well, all right. So getting back to Casey Kasem. I'm sorry for killing you out there, folks. We know this is a long one, but we're getting there. We're getting through now.
Almost there.
All right. So now, well, last night having been like they're saying another classic Mosier live moment. Mm-hmm. I think there is a moment that it's like there's like a Frampton Comes Alive for Scott Mosier. Like there is this show, which is billed as SModcast 300 Part 1, but really isn't 300 because it's like 297. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how this happened. Hang on. The actual number is, 296, SModcast 300 Part 1. And, they've done live shows and they've done all these podcasts. They've done 300 up until that point. How this fucking story didn't come out until then. And it's so spontaneous and so brilliant. It might be one of Mosier's shining moments. So,
of which there are many.
Yeah, but this is one of those brilliant ones.
That is, you know what that reminds me of? I don't know if I ever told you the story where I walked out of, I went in to get a coffee one morning, and I was walking to my car, and I get out, and I'm walking, and there's a girl walking up to me in the streets on my left. She's walking up to me, and she has like a little bird, like a parrot, like a small kind of parrot on her shoulder, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, that's strange, and I was like looking at her, and like we looked at each other, and then all of a sudden the bird goes whoop and jumps off her shoulder into the fucking street. And so both of us are looking at each other, and then we both look down, and then a fucking bus. And it's all slow-mo. It's like, oh, hey. And then it's like, and then it's like.
Now, I don't know what it is about the human mind with the slow-mo thing. Now, because like a week or so ago, a computer monitor fell on my foot.
Oof.
And I saw it in slow-mo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
it's true. Moments such as those.
Yeah, like is it the adrenaline? Like you must be going faster because time is moving slower. In all my superhero movies, that's what they tell me.
I was going to say, is it like your spider sense is going off?
I mean,
so you see everything in slow mo.
It's distended time. It really feels like that because I remember seeing it going, and seeing the corner of that sucker literally make contact with my foot and go, And the whole time going, that's hitting my foot. The next thing I remember was screaming with my foot in my, like up by my chest somehow.
Right.
Ugh. Fortunately, just bruised.
Thank God.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
It was a real
worse.
ouchie.
The way it landed.
Yeah.
Well,
And it was like 1 a.m, too.
Well, it happened in the middle of the night. I don't know what happened.
I know. I closed the. It's like on top of a desk.
Yeah.
I was so tired. I must have closed it with a little too much force.
Mm-hmm.
It probably wobble.
I pushed the
Yeah, because again, I was groggy. But then, from grogginess to instantly seeing the monitor fall in slow motion. You know what I mean? Like, that I'm very much aware of. I don't remember how it fell, but I remember seeing it fall. Yeah.
Looked back up to her, and she looked at me, and then we looked back down, and the truck goes.
The second one.
It's like she looked back down to be like, maybe that's not what we saw.
She looks, denial.
And then,
what is your job or your role in a moment
like
like
that?
Because it's not like you met her, you're like, oh, hey. She was a person who was a few feet away, and you share this brief moment with this lovely bird that tragically died seconds later. Like, are you supposed to grieve with her or
It almost seemed like it was committing suicide. It was such a weird, like, I ate my life. I was meant to fly.
The bird
She's a hipster.
Maybe the bird saw something in you. The bird's like, she'll be safe with him now. Woman, there is your new bird.
Take care of her.
What did you do, man? You didn't tell me to just keep walking like, oh.
I was like, there was a really long pause. Where it just was.
I would imagine for at least one of you.
Yeah. Well, it was just continuing.
Lost their best friend.
It was like this. We just kept going like because it was pretty shocking. And it was like, and I kind of looked at it, and then I was like, do you want me to get it? Like, do you want me to, should I get it on the road, or, like, and she was like, she was in shock, she wasn't even crying, she was like, she finally took it, and I said,
I'm sorry,
hey,
I had to edit this.
Sorry about your bird.
It's just too brilliant.
And then I left.
How weird that you shared that moment. And when you tell the story, like, it's in a fucking room where everyone's like, ah. And when she tells the story...
She's in an AA meeting.
Such a brilliant pull. Self-help group. Therapist office.
I was doing well, and then I saw Rio.
Had a relapse. See, that is one of Mosier's brilliant moments, because it's just...
And the fact that he didn't tell that story before.
Yeah, like he had that one...
He held it.
That's a story you figure you would have told,
Yeah,
you know? Like, the day I walked by and a woman's bird
and it didn't seem like
died.
he saved it for that
And
moment.
I cut that story short and I edited...
Yeah.
Because I love that tagline at the end.
Right.
I cut that story down.
Well,
So
and it didn't
there's
sound...
so much more there that's funny.
And it didn't sound like he was saving it for that. He just happened to like recall the story and
Yeah, it was like because they like to tell Canada news stories, and there was a story about a parrot that had attacked somebody
and then it
to
just
save
kind
its
of-
owner.
and that just turned into this.
And that was the one
That was great.
tipped the old brain off.
So great.
All right, so the next show is actually kind of cool because it's a cheat. We get to slip into something else, but I mean, it's a pick for me because it had a huge impact on my life. I know that sounds crazy. I got a podcast. I have a huge impact in your life. It's because at the time, let's see, Joey and I were doing Bone Crushing Juggernaut as a podcast for probably maybe 6 months or something by then. And, you know, we've had a good little stride going, and we were feeling good about our accomplishments. And then Kevin up and went and started a whole new show. And that show had a lot of audience participation, much like, what do you call it, Ralph's show, the Babylon show.
Right.
But unlike Babylon show, which is more, even that participation is kind of based around the nightclub act and kind of being there. And this was more just sort of, geeky science stuff and just sort of writing in participation. And for whatever reason, like, eventually we started getting shout outs from Kevin and Andy from this show. And I would say without that, there would be no ThatMan on Fatman, because the BCJ tweets and stuff and Kevin's comments led me to have that moment where I'm like, I want to do this without pissing off Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know, I'll start this other show. And you wouldn't get there without this kind of stuff. So here we go. The next clip in the show is 260, Edumacation. I hope I'm going to play the right cut here. Wait, how many we got left? 1, 2, 3. So it's this one, definitely.
Welcome to Edumacation. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Andy McElfresh.
Okay, here's the idea, kids. I, at age 42, have come to the conclusion, something I've never wanted to admit to myself. I'm fucking dumb. I don't know enough things. I know a little bit about useless information, enough to futz my way through a fucking shindig or a social gathering, or Q&A or movie or whatever the fuck. But I'm not smart. I'm really not bright. Even when I read the news, I don't process it very quickly. When I watch Mad Men, I have to have my wife with me, so at the end of it, she can be like, this is what happened. Because I'm always, at the end they roll credits, and I got this expression like a fucking dog who was just Abraham Lincoln appeared in front of him in a time machine. He's like, we got to stop the Nazis. And the dog's like, no part of this do I understand whatsoever. So it's important, kids, to always keep learning, always fill your head full of stuff, always stay current. But on Edumacation, the idea is this. I sit down with the smartest motherfucker I know, person so well-read, so bright, so intelligent, man, as shocking that he only works for The Tonight Show. But that's how you get fucking smart. When you're forced to deal with current events on a regular basis, plus he comes from a real smart background. Don't you, with straight A's and shit?
I don't know about that. I just, my whole thing is...
Look, he's downplaying. He's like, don't get me beat up in the hallway.
I know.
There's no more... This ain't school anymore, dude. Nobody's going to beat you up.
There's still a lot of jocks out there.
There are not. You could be smart. Tell them how smart you are.
Now, their dynamic is great because it's a very different dynamic, because Andy embarrasses easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that in and of itself, I think, shapes the show to be Kevin has to push it as far as he can to embarrass Andy. And that is such an underlying current in the show that drives it forward. And just also Andy being such a great joke writer and, knowing comedy the way he does, he knows to get out of the way. So you won't get that dynamic necessarily on some of the other shows, but you'll get it here. And it's also interesting because even Kevin admits that Andy's the first guy that he ever sort of allowed, and didn't even realize it, to write jokes for him. And that was back on when they were doing the roadside travel shows, which is where they met, because that's what you do when you produce these segments. You write jokes for the guy to make it easier for him to do his job.
Right.
And Kevin's just so used to writing his own stuff. He didn't even realize he was being written to. Because apparently, I think Andy said something to the effect of, he would be holding up the jokes and Kevin would be reading them and say, hey, that's pretty funny. And then he wouldn't read the joke as part of and eventually Andy's like, no, these are for you to make it easy. You can say these. He's like, oh. So there you go. Legend was born.
Listen,
what'd you get on your SATs?
It's hard for me to remember. It's a long time ago. My thing though is that I just read short articles looking for things to make jokes about.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff I write about is science-based articles where I'm looking at what's current in science. So
I want to get smarter. Andy is the door. This podcast is the key. The contents we talk about is what's in the room inside on the other side of the door.
The dog will be played by Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, what's the knob? I want to know what the knob is.
And the idea is we go through, very simple, there's a structure, so you know when we're in and out and stuff. We go through, what are the 4 categories, Andy?
Sci.
And?
For science.
Of course.
Phi.
Okay.
For fiction.
3rd category?
The why. And that's really, either my opportunity to quiz you to see,
what's that last category?
Spot the differences between what's real and what's not in the world of science news.
Or me get to ask you something like, fucking, why is there air? Or something like that.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
Explain it to
Why
me,
is the
man.
sky blue?
Kind of a grown-up version of my favorite book when I was a kid. Who invented it and what makes it work? Where they showed you how fucking the toilet flush. I remember being 9 and being like, holy shit. We got the psi, the phi,
It's not little blue
the y.
men.
And then the buy, where we run down
Gay
a bunch
stories.
of little.
Oh,
No.
The gay curious stories.
No?
Not hardcore. And he's like, no.
I love you, Kevin.
Not dick in the mouth, but dick around the chin.
If I told you that this whole, the whole purpose of this is to inspire curiosity, because I really feel like that's what's missing with a lot of our society.
And there you have it. So that's a bit from Edumacation. So it launched as a episode, of course, on SModcast. Something that Kevin now does as a rule. Also, Fatman on Fatman did the same. So, but having such a deep impact to our show, I couldn't help but props that as one of our SModcast picks.
And
So we got 2 more. We only have 2 more here.
Well, and we can share with everybody the other when Andy's been on our show really quick.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
yeah. So Andy is a mensch.
Right.
He so supportive that he's come on this show at least 4 times. So
right. So season 1, he's been 3 times. So
the first one I know was with Pork Chop Murphy.
Season 1,
which
show
is great.
20.
Yes.
And then season 1, show 34, which is September 17th, 2014.
Yeah, that was just the 2 of us.
And then show 51 in season 1.
That might have been the Edumacation special.
Correct. And then
yeah, that was a great episode. I love that.
The latest one
with all
was
those other guys
season
who's
3.
named Stormraven and fucking
Right.
and
And the latest one was season 3, the 31st show, which was on May 27th of last year.
Yes, and that was
So that was the most recent
dial
one.
in.
Correct. Yeah. So check those out.
And he's an awesome guy. And I know he's been on other people's podcasts.
Right, he's a great guy.
He's supportive of the art.
Yes.
So, and that's another reason we like him. All right, the next show on the hit list is 288. Now, this is weird because the actual show itself does not have any... I mean, the connections are so tangential that from this weird episode that is brilliant comes The Colleens. Is such a, that's another journey, but it's a very different one. It's not quite like the Tusk journey, but it's there. But it did come from this episode, and I love this episode, always have. You have to hear, it's got a sister episode, and I can't remember which one it is. Is it like Pantsformers?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Pantsformers.
Yeah, I remember.
Is its follow-up. And because that is them reading, they wrote an article about, it's sort of them reading about them making a movie, Yoga Hosers. It's very meta, but they dovetail each other so nicely. But the story started here. It had nothing to do ultimately with what became into the movie Yoga Hosers, other than the brilliance of that term and some loose concepts of the yoga instructor, which was eventually played by Mr. Long.
Justin Long.
Mr.
Oh
Justin
my
Long.
God.
But it's still brilliant. And I love this episode so much that, on YouTube, we have the 2 cut together to make it easy. We call it the complete Yoga Hoser, complete Yoga Hoser Saga, or whatever the fuck we call it. And the download numbers are through the roof. It's one of those ones we have major downloads. And I think people are downloading it really figuring they'll figure out how it fits in with the Colleens or whatever. But it's so different. I wonder how people's mind... it's a fly on the wall one I'd love to see because it has nothing to do with Colleens. Still so brilliant. So here's a cut from Yoga Hosers.
This, Scott, is from the Edmonton Journal. From Edmonton. Good old Yeg.
A little more, I think, a little editing
by,
here, too. As
what
well.
I believe is Jana G. Pruden and Kaylin Klingbeil. I'm just going to say this may be the best opening to a story written this year, if not in the last 5 years. Listen to this fucking sentence. For 2 years, a stolen ancient artifact worth $1.2 million sat on an IKEA bookshelf in a South Edmonton apartment displayed above a plastic Star Wars spaceship.
So that is a great opening. It's such a visual.
The Persian bas-relief sculpture, dating from the 5th century BC, sat slightly behind a handmade vase decorated with a painted fish and filled with dried flowers.
I would like to say for the record, if anyone who knows, Ernie and Kev used to, or were kind of making the, was it Raiders of the Lost Ball or something? That was going to be their sequel to Raiders. I don't know if it was a movie, a play, but it was something that they played pretend because they found like some copy of a ball head. Now, ball actually, it's interesting. Ball, a little bit of history here. Ball, competing god during, the beginning of Judaism and during when the Hebrews were enslaved. And he was a competing god because Baal, I guess, like it was a fertility god. So all the rites around Baalism were very fun. A lot of ritualistic sleeping with priests and stuff, and because it's all about fertility and harvest. And it's funny because a lot of things that pissed off the Hebrews were things that the Baal people did. And so much so that the word they used, they turned it into an insult or a bastardization. Beelzebub is actually is a bastardization of Baal. Yes, it's a way to pejorative. They made it a pejorative. So just a little insight into how things work in the.
Of course, I'm thinking with Baal, it's like from the one of the quips in Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Yes. So, but it was an old pagan god. I mean, in competition, it would be one of the gods of the time and one of the fun ones. A lot of transgenderism going on in there. Men dressed as ladies, ladies dressed as men, blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of things that suddenly became sins. God, those guys are having too much fun. We can't keep them in the temples. You know what I mean? It kind of makes sense. And who would want to be in the temple when you can go to another temple and go, fuck? I mean, for lack of better fucking terms.
Right.
I'm going to go get laid down the road instead of feel shamed over here.
It's like,
guilt, shame.
I was going to say, it's like, fertility, sex, that, heaping dose of guilt.
So you could find essentially you could find in the Bible a lot of smears of Baalism. Because it was a competing religion, and one that was apparently a lot of fun. All right, moving on here, resuming.
Then at about 9 a.m. on January 22nd, a team of police officers working with Quebec's RCMP's Integrated Art Crime Investigation Team. Who knew there was one of those?
Another one of our births.
We are from Quebec.
I can't even say it.
In pursuit of art, the Integrated Art Crime Investigation Team. What would that acronym be? Oh my God, you're right where I am. Let me see. There's IACIT. Sit down. You are guilty of stealing art.
They're from the IACIT.
Or if you throw in the RCMP before it, it's RCMP IACIT. Yeah. That's a mouthful.
That's a little too much.
It is like the Smuckers of
We just
cops.
say art cop.
With a name like ours, you better be good, and we are. We are art cop. It is as he says, we are the art cops. Like you're the heart cops? No, the art cops.
The art cops.
Is this one of those times you're having a hard time with an H? Or?
No.
When I speak of art, I speak of passion. I have art for my art. Well, now I'm just damn confused. Can you please tell me what you're doing
Could
here?
you write it down?
Did it again.
I stopped taking mandatory French in grade 10, eh?
Grade 10, eh? It wasn't mandatory after that. I took 2 years of German.
Checked out Spanish,
school.
I did. Just in case, they say it's an emerging language. Well, then they did.
Hola, amigo.
Yeah, donde Zapata la zapateria, I believe. Eh?
That stands for where. I love how they catch their own ugly Americanism. Stands for. It's words, dude. They mean.
Then, let me see. The art banged on. Then at about 9 a.m. on January 22nd, a team of police officers working.
Open up, Yoga Hoser.
There it is.
I love this.
Yoga Hoser, genius.
He's got you.
No way, eh? Open up, you goddamn Yoga Hoser. You're making it bad for the rest of us Edmontonians. No way, eh? Oh, you. Oh, well, these goddamn Yoga Hosers, isn't it?
Now, again, this is another one of those episodes where the cream of the crop is in the second half, but there's still a great first half about this soccer player that they discover said something like "fuck the Pope in the ass" and something. And it was like, oh my God, Kevin was so overjoyed because essentially, if he did that, he'd be drummed out of fucking show business. But
right.
He's like, fuck the Pope in the ass. This big controversial French soccer player. So that accent also carried over. And that joke where he's like, is this the time when you're having trouble saying H? Mm-hmm. That's from the first part of the episode where they're doing an accent like him and realize that they can't. Because that guy sounds like Mosier doing a Frenchman. That's another thing. He's like, you could be him, But so that is another episode that is packed with shit. So check that one out. The last episode, we're going to wrap this up as the dogs come down. Yay, Gene. Thank you so much. This is a very personal episode. It's so weird, too, that it ends this way because, and it's part of another famous saga for us. And I can't help but make this a favorite episode because it's the first time Kevin actually mentions our show on his show by name and mentions me as well. And it has to do with this whole Hitchbot thing. Another saga which spans many episodes. We have an edit out there as well. This is another thing we've edited together, but spans at least 3 episodes. 4, I think, total. In any event, this was sort of the crescendo of it all. It was called, and it's episode 334, Alfred Hitchbot Presents. And Hitchbot was this Canadian robot that the people at...
It was an experiment.
Yeah, it was more a human behavior than it really was science, but...
Correct.
And it was, if they put together this hitchhiking robot that was sort of helpless, would people feel inclined to take it to its destination, or would they ignore it or whatever? And in Canada, it went across coast to coast without issue. And in Europe, it did some of that. And
the U.S., it hit Philadelphia.
and the joke was, and Kevin and Mosier very early on saw this in the news and were like, they were it was another thing that they saw such whimsy in it, but they also saw that, man, if it came here, just because of the way Americans are, we'll beat it and have sex with it. But it was all ironic joke. Until they tried it and it made it to Philly and it got beat down or whatever happened to it. And then, this is all documented on our older episodes, but the guy went dumpster diving for the carcass, found it, who was a Kevin fan, and was also a fan of our show, contacted me, told me he had it, and I convinced him to meet us at the Mallrats show. And then originally the plan was to go on stage and everyone got cold feet because of Ryerson but here is a little clip from that show that I think best sums up what happened, and I love this little bit here. So, and yes, it's self-serving, but hey, if I don't serve myself, who will? And plus, I just love this. It's amazing. I love the joke that they make out of this. The comparison to one of my favorite movies, too. So is very cool. Certainly one of my favorite King-based movies. And without any further ado, here comes the last cut. Number 10, Alfred Hitchbot presents 334.
There's a picture of me sitting next to the Headless Hitchbot, man. Scott, who does ThatMan on Fatman podcast.
Yeah.
He
had to think about it,
too. Who found the remains. And so I was going to go I was just about to go on stage at the
they're like,
oh no, I'm chewing.
Kind of. Yeah, you want to see something? And I was like, what, a dick? And they were like, no, a headless robot. I was like, oh, that's fucked up. It was like, Stand By Me.
Where's its dick?
Do you want to go look at a body? And I was like, yeah.
I love
we all
that.
walked down the train tracks. There was Hitchbot and shit. And we all took it differently. Some of us were moved. Some of us were not.
Some of us got older and worked in real estate.
One of us lost a pie eating contest, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's been a while. But there was I met the dude who found the body, and he had called Ryerson, to be like,
up in Canada, be like, I got your
man. No, he's like, I found your shit. What do you want me to do with it? And they were like, oh my God, send it back. But at one point, he had said to them, like, hey, I'm gonna see Kevin Smith because I was going to the show. I did a screening of Mallrats. I didn't do it. BuzzFeed did it. Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn. And it was wonderful. 2,500 people showed up, dude. I was just like, where the fuck were you when this movie
When I think of Mallrats now,
I'm not happy.
That's the night I think of. Because all of us saw it together.
I'm glad for you, but fuck.
Because all of us saw it together.
It was really wonderful. And
sounds awesome.
Then right before that, before I got out, that's when they bring over the Hitchbot. Dude said he got in touch with the folks at Ryerson and was like, hey, I got Hitchbot. I'm going to bring him back. They're like, oh, thanks. And he's like, hey, I'm going to see Kevin Smith today, so I'm going to show him Hitchbot. And they were like, it got right back in touch with him. Like, no, don't do that.
Again.
And they were like, he wants to hurt the robot. They thought our podcast was advocating the killing and fucking of Hitchbot. Like all our two podcasts where we talked about Hitchbot, they thought we were saying, or the dude apparently had no sense of irony or fucking humor. And thought that we were like, let's kill this fucking robot. If he ever comes to America, you kill it and fuck it. Like, they thought we wanted to seriously. He didn't want him to bring me the Hitchbot body.
You're going to fuck that.
That I might fuck it and put it on Instagram, like a picture of me with my dick and Hitchbot. Can you imagine? Like, that's what they think of me in Canada, dude? At Ryerson? Like, seriously? I thought, like, up there, I'd go up there, people would be like, hey, it's fucking him and shit. But now I know that my reputation, at least in the Toronto scientific community, is like, he wants to put his dick inside things.
Yeah, don't put anything out there.
Yeah, don't bring a robot, a baby, anything. Like
a robot baby.
Oh, I love that. A robot baby.
A robot baby? Yes. Meet baby Ivan, my robot baby. I put him together out of spare parts.
Yeah.
He loves and he needs.
A smaller bucket.
So
fucking you want to fuck it, you pig?
Me?
Yes.
And there you have it, our top 10 SModcast episodes.
Nice.
As picked by ThatMan on Fatman. That will represent our top 10. I'm so glad that you could be a part of this. And
Thank you, Scott.
So patient that you...
Thank you, Gene.
You literally redid the show. With it. Yeah, Gene had to...
on the spot.
But another thing about this episode, I think that was that is neat, is like I can recall, like, Kevin was really bummed out about that. That wasn't bullshit, like that. Him finding out those aspects of it really was a bummer for him, because, like, surely if you listened, and don't call me Shirley, if you listen to those episodes, you would have.
You can tell it's humor. It's the irony, as he was saying. He's not.
So that really did suck.
Hitchbot pedophile. Yeah.
What was that? Now the funny thing is, one of the best parts of that experience, other than that, but now because we stuck around and watched Mallrats after the Hitchbot thing, and when I think now of Mallrats, I remember that night seeing it open in the air with my kids. Maura seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, the kids had never seen it.
Yeah, well, I think Cameron might have, but Maura definitely had not.
Well, to me, they had never seen it before.
And like, that has become my Mallrats memory.
It was such a cool
like
memory.
Actually supplanted the first time I see it as a memory.
Now, here's a question for you: did you see Mallrats in the theaters to begin with?
I did not. We couldn't find it.
I did.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was one of those few people that Kevin was talking about. Yeah.
Okay, I saw. Well, I didn't see it, but okay, I was asleep while Clerks played at Woodstock '94.
Oh wow! Wait, you were at Woodstock '94 as well?
Yeah, we were.
Yes, we were.
Wait,
there.
what stage were you at? North stage or south stage, or were you?
Well, we bopped back and forth, but
okay.
we camped at the hipper side. Which was what? Where Metallica performed.
North,
North
stage.
Yeah, so crazy. And that is not the one, folks, where they burned the place down.
Oh my God, it was a muddy mess.
That was 99. Yeah.
No, it was just shit and piss and mud
But
everywhere.
anytime we tell anyone that...
It was mud. Lots of mud.
Shit mud.
But when we tell anyone that, that's the one they remember. And here's another interesting tidbit about Woodstock 94 going there. I had 90 days of sobriety.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a drink in 90 days, and like my
cool
sponsor,
place.
even at the time, he's like, well,
is this a good idea type of thing?
Yeah, he's like, well, I guess you'll either come back sober or you'll come back drunk.
Well,
we
you
went
came
up
with
there.
me. You went with me.
Turns out, and this is another reason we were A stage, right on the concourse.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow and white tent was actually something that we've never really seen before. AA and NA working together.
Oh wow!
They hosted alternating meetings and coffee pots and all that stuff, and a space to have them, and also where you could just hang out and watch the show right there in the safety of their little tent divide, because it was right on the. And whenever people wandered out with drinks, they would kind of wander them out and let them know, hey, you're in a place.
We were lucky. That was a lucky.
And thanks to that, I believe that's part of the reason I do sit here with 20-something years without a drink today.
Well, nice. I love you, sweetie. Congratulations. Later, everybody. I got to go.
I love you too, sweetie.
Love you guys.
Take care,
we're taking up a lot of time recording this special episode.
I promised somebody, so I got to go. Bye.
All right. Smart and good. Which we'll be saying to everybody soon.
Yeah.
I like your fucking shirt, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I noticed it on the way in, but I hadn't said anything. Air kiss. They screwed up the air kiss. Yeah.
I like a plant once in a while.
Are you ready for Defenders?
Oh yes,
right,
I'm ready. I've watched every of the Marvel Netflix series. So
that may be the last Marvel Netflix series I get special commentary on from Michael Joseph Consolmagno, because as of right now, that's the last Marvel series he's worked. He's still working, but
right, but just not on those.
And he's working with some people that he knows from the Marvel Netflix stuff.
Very
but
cool.
Actually, now he's on the Amazon side.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's working on some Amazon shows. So
very cool.
Yeah. Well, more about those later.
Yes, I was going to say. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from Michael Joseph.
Well, he also gave me a big heads up because he knows that I'm very excited when they come out. I want to drop them fast, but he's like, I want to let you know when it comes out, I'm going to be on vacation, so I'll be away. Yeah. So I'm letting you know. So he's become such a great part of my life and a good friend and part of making our movie and everything else.
And I was going to say, as part of making the movie, besides doing some of the photography, like the filming, he's also doing editing.
He's my editing man.
Yep.
Yes, he's the editor essentially. So more. That means he gets more.
Nice.
Good for him, but he deserves it.
And he gets extra credit.
Yeah, he does. He's been a DP, and he's been our editor, and he's been a godsend, because without him, we wouldn't be where we're at now, which is essentially cut. And even if we don't have things, we can just go placeholder. Right. You know what I mean? So that and we have the story back broken and all that shit. And
sweet.
Yeah. So now it's. I can't wait to see the first long cut, and now we're cutting. With
cool.
Did you ever read Stephen King's On Writing?
No, I haven't.
It's actually a good book because it's autobiographical, and it also gives you real pointers about writing. And both of it are great. The first part, he obviously tells the I got hit by a van story, which is amazing. And if you've read Dark Tower, read it in there. Read it probably like after Wolves of the Column.
And I believe that's next week, isn't it? Dark Tower?
Yeah. But I've heard something. I read something that this is a continuation of the book series.
Oh.
Which, if you read the book series, makes sense, and you can do.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is going to be its own universe. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Yeah. So, and I guess that's their way of saying if we don't get another movie, there you go. But I do like what's his name as the Man in Black.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they're doing this right.
Yeah. What the hell's his name? Not
Matthew
Michael
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
And you know what? The first time I heard, there's so much of in comic book world, people being disappointed about diversity, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? They never defined Roland's race.
No.
I know that fucking story.
Yeah, Idris Elba, I think, is going to do an awesome job.
Amazing. And here's another reason why. They do say that the Man in Black was white.
Right.
That
they do, yeah.
So it makes so much more like fucking like opposites and that whole yin yang, black white is black is white to make for, and contrary to what Americans like to acknowledge, there were a lot of black cowboys for realsies in our Western history. So,
and not just Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, all of it makes sense. Oh no, in real life, Buffalo Soldiers, man, they went out there to fucking escape racism. You know what I mean? Essentially, to go out and fucking not be treated like shit. Like you out in the old plains. Anyway, so all of it makes sense. I'm banging my thing all over the place. You want to get me out of you want to get out of here.
I gotta get back and
so much
make dinner.
You doubling down and doing this for me. I appreciate everything. I'm sorry
thank you, Scott.
I'm sorry we cut Blues Traveler. The song.
No, it's okay. When Pete's around, then we can have a.
We can build a show around that.
Just to have a whole musical show. You know what? You should have another musical show. Have
I would love
Pete
to.
on. Have Schiaffo.
Dude,
Penny,
I really do want to do, since doing an MST3K show, I think is an overcommitment. But there's no reason.
I was going to say with my time schedule
there is
too.
no reason we can't do a fucking MST3K like celebration episode here because it's a part of me. It's a part of my comedic origins, and I would love to geek out. And I'm sure there's other people.
Oh yeah,
both old and new.
And I don't know if I got to tell you, we did get to go to the live show too. The MST3K live, and we went to the EGA one.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh my god!
So they're doing old movies. Oh no! Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Fuck. Again, while we were listening to this, it kind of reminded me of that fucking Avalanche movie. I like that one.
Oh yeah, when they were doing Smorborch, I can't even say it right.
Yes, Smortion.
Smortion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like the little movie they set up is not a very far cry from Avalanche with Mia Farrow and like all this other 70s fucking polyester everywhere. It was amazing. And I also like the space one that's really bad.
Oh, Star Crash, right?
Yeah, because despite it all, there's a really hot woman in it. So it's easy on the eyes the whole time, and that stupid southern robot.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It's terrible. There are a lot of bad 70s. It's like Star Wars had happened, but these people
so
were,
everyone had to jump on the bandwagon.
But they were still
and make
kind
their
of
own
stuck in the 70s, and it was rough and
oh god,
and a lot of European stuff and it's like it's a bad Flash Gordon, and I love Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah,
because it's camp.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
But I love it. As a kid, I love that movie.
But this would be the horrible equivalent of Flash Gordon. Yes.
Yeah. Like I don't even have rights to anything. I don't even have the Flash Gordon rights, but we got to make something. It makes like fucking what was it? Krull look like fucking Shakespeare.
So. With the what was the weapon? The star,
the spinny star. Yeah, because that's all you needed. In those
exactly.
days. You just needed a weapon
that was the
to
coolest
define your
weapon.
movie. Yeah.
You didn't have to
like
remember
Liam
any
Neeson's
of the rest.
in that shit too.
Yeah.
That's what's scary. All right, so we should shut the show because you know what?
We'll keep
I have
going
these hot dogs right here that I really want to fucking eat while they're still warm. So again, we thank you, and if no one has told you this week that you're smart and good, I'm telling you, you're smart and good, and so is my pal here,
Nick Franco
from
Where Are My Seats?
And you're smart and good, and we'll see you next time. This is a different episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we're out of here.
something else out there, and just why are we here? Then I see the world will turn, and we must be its guide. Crazy dreams and nonsense schemes, gone comes we must reply. Powers from our mother earth, they'll blow us to our knees. While our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please. Greeting moments one by one and smirking like a thief. Sleeping through another night and deepening our peace. Genesis and matter's wake is coming from our sun. Living in this very moment, for this moment's done. But now I see the dawn will come, and we are all its guide. Crazy dreams and nonsense schemes, the Godhead in the skies. Powers from our mother earth is all we'll ever be. While our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please. As we worship at our shrine, bursting flowers into bloom, there's no such thing as time. Powers from our mother earth will blow us to our knees. Twisting, turning minds are burning, join us if you please. And now I see that I am just beginning its demise. Flashing bits of comic light that vanish from the skies. Powers from our mother earth is all we'll ever be. All our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please. If you please. If you please.
There he is. It's that man standing over Blood Alley Square, protecting us all. Go get him, that man.